Now, I'm sure most people watching this video are gamers, and I'm sure that some people watching this video here are toxic gamers. So today, I thought that I would rank games with toxic communities from the least toxic to the most toxic. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's begin with Overwatch. The Overwatch community is basically built off toxic players who, if you don't go who they want you to go, will just call you slurs of all kinds. And from what I've seen, even reporting these people won't get them banned. As an Overwatch player myself, I've experienced this kind of abuse. I just laugh it off because I know that they're probably 20 years old sitting in their mother's basement playing this game. And it's not only that, the way people play this game is toxic.
Give me a fucking... Oh my god.
There are also some absolutely bullshit combinations like Farah Mercy. I mean, it's not exactly a surprise that the community is like this. Most people who play the game don't even like the game but play it anyway. You only have to look at the Steam reviews to find that. But to be honest, the community has always been this way, just quite toxic in general, and the fact that you can't get rid of them even if you report them makes it even worse. So let's put it in very toxic. Moving on, we have CSGO. Now, I've tried CSGO twice. The first time, I loaded into a game, got one shot headshot, and then installed it. And the second time, I loaded the game up, got one shot headshot, and uninstalled it. The community of Counter-Strike is mainly built up of Russians, as seen from most of the clips on the internet.
Are you from Russia?
No, I'm from England, America!
A big draw for the game is also gambling, which happens both online and in-game with the loot box system. And the fact that you can actually sell the knives that you get in-game on a black market of sorts. And when the grown-ass Slavic man doesn't get what he wants, he screams.
Nay! Nay!
The community itself isn't too bad because they seem to understand each other's toxicity. That is, unless there's a child in the lobby. There are some random reports of Russians just bullying children in the game if they say anything. But aside from this, it seems that the player base just kind of understand each other's toxicity, so we'll put this in the toxic tier. Go outside. Let me explain. Just the way that Rust works encourages toxicity and is just addictive in general. The entire gist of Rust is that you make a base somewhere, get loads of guns and armor, and survive for as long as you can until you get killed or the server is wiped. The problem with this is that you need to maintain your base by putting the materials needed into this cabinet, and people can also raid your base while you're offline or online. This means that the majority of Rust players actually sit at their computers for hours on end with their headphones on and sleep so they don't get offline raided. It is that toxic. And if this is not toxic in itself, then I do not know what is. The player base in and of itself is just incredibly toxic, with roof camping, door camping, and just camping in general being serious problems in the game, as well as just insults upon insults upon insults.
Go to hell, please! Shut up, go to hell!
I have played Rust myself. Not in a toxic way, of course. I have around 35 hours in the game. I only ever played it solo too, and in my experience it's not really worth getting into, just because it turns into a full-time job after a while that you don't even get paid for. There have been countless times where I've spawned in, ran for a bit, and been gunned down by a Russian child only to be sworn at many times in Russian, by words that I have never heard before, even though all I had was a rock and a torch. Anyway, that's my reasoning for putting Rust in the go outside category. Now let's talk about League. League of Legends. I have a few friends that play League, and one of them who plays it professionally. And whenever I'm in a call with them, it sounds like 2 or 3 angry chimpanzees fighting each other. To be honest here, the streamers of League are just mentally insane. I mean, most people are that play League, but the streamers especially. A lot of the toxicity does come from just bad teammates or people just griefing your team. The community, by the sounds of things, has just got worse and worse over the years, and Riot doesn't seem to really want to do anything about it or have a good excuse on why they're not doing anything about it. I feel like the fact that the game relies so heavily on working as a team makes the situation even worse, because if you have one bad teammate, they just get abused the whole time. And you probably just won't win either if you have one bad teammate. This then leads to people leaving and having a shortage of teammates, and it makes it quite toxic, let's just say.
I quit!
Overall, I think that League should be in the very toxic tier, and the higher end of the spectrum too, mainly because the game is so based around teamwork that it creates so many arguments and insults when there is a bad player on your team. Next up we have Valorant. To be honest, the Valorant player base is more weird than anything.
Alright guys, we gotta start this off. Alright, I'm so ready.
But it's still very toxic too. This is because the player base is made up of a combination of Overwatch players, CSGO players, and League players. So it makes a lot of sense why the game is quite toxic. A lot of the Valorant toxicity comes from misogyny and hate towards women who play the game, as they make up around 30 to 40% of the player base. It's also similar to Overwatch in the fact that people just scream at their teammates if they're bad. The toxicity is also fairly heavily backed up from the fact that the game is just very, very campy, with most characters just playing in that sort of way. The problem with toxicity in Valorant also stems from the fact that Riot just don't ban people when they're reported, similar to that of League and Overwatch. But yeah, after all that, I think very toxic is the place to put it, I'd say. Genshin Impact is a game with, a player base. The community is pretty tragic, I won't lie. The most notable thing about the community is that they send up just straight up death threats to the developers of the game. They've done this a few times. One of the times was that they changed the character's voice actor, and they had some cringe lines. So do you know what they did? They sent death threats to the developers of the game. They actually also doxed another character's writer and voice actor because they didn't like the character overall. And they said that the character Wanderer for the game actually depicted a war criminal, which is just insane. And they've been doxed many, many times over the past few years. Anyway, I think Genshin definitely fits into the go outside tier, just for sending death threats to the developers multiple times. Now, let's move on to Tarkov. A game which I actually quite enjoy playing for the most part. When I actually extract, that is. The problem with the Tarkov toxicity is, once again, partly the mainly Russian player base, but also the playstyle in which the game encourages. In Tarkov, you have a stash house. You can bring certain things in and out with you to extraction, like a backpack or a bulletproof vest. You then go in, shoot people, take their gear, and then extract. So what's the catch? Well, the catch is that if you don't extract, you lose everything that you had on you. The game does attract a lot of hackers because of the bad or lack of anti-cheat that there is in the game, and the campers are also a massive problem in the game. They essentially just camp extracts and kill people as soon as they're about to extract, so they can just make some easy loot and easy money. I remember one time I saw a clip of this guy actually crying because he got killed at the extraction by a camper. Oh my god. The player base is just awful in this game. It's full of paranoid people and campers, both of which cry when they lose everything. I feel like Tarkov should go in the go outside tier, because if you sit on Tarkov all day and camp extracts, then you obviously do not go outside and enjoy your life. Lastly, to finish this list off, we have Rainbow Six Siege. I've played Siege a few times, mainly custom games with friends, and even there it felt very toxic. The toxicity in Siege is unlike most games, to be honest, and I mean, you have team killing, which happens a lot, as well as the community just being disrespectful to another level. I think it's probably best if I just put some clips up.
Yo, Jude, I'm pushing up, Jude! Jude, do you hear me, Jude? Jude, I'm pushing up, Jude! Jude, I'm pushing up, you hear me? Jude, I'm in the mic,
Dude, you killed him! You killed him!
We'll put them at the top of the very toxic tier. So yeah, that's the end of the video. There's a tier list on screen if you want to see it. If you want to see more content like this, then why not hit the subscribe button and like while you're at it. I try and upload once a week on this channel, and that's been going well so far. It's been going very well actually. And I guess I'll see you in the next one.